And don't you be afraid. Thank you for the friends you made. For tonight, for today, and every day, you're a superstar. Not just on New Year's Day, you know. That's really what it is. It's like 2025. There is no year, there is no day, there is no... That's the key, innit? I live my day every day. I live my life every day like there is no past. I'm gonna live it like it's the last. I'm all night, all summers, you know. There is no day, there is no week, there is no year. That's the way you gotta live life, because really it's all an illusion that doesn't feel like 2025 really, does it? I was watching that, where do I fucking start with this one? Right, I've got an hour and a half in the car. This could take an hour and a half and still scratch the surface how I feel, really, to be quite fair. To be honest, you know. You know, because I watched Lockerbie, The Search for Truth. Yeah. Search for truth. Yeah. Because everybody cares about the truth, don't they? Most people care about the truth, don't they? Yeah, so they do. They really do, don't they? I mean, even in your real life, how many folk, your associates, your friends, your family, or anyone else that chooses to fuck with you, how many of those folk give a shit about the truth? The truth's a relative term, isn't it? But how many folk wanted to get to the bottom of the thing, you know? Or how many folk just want to paper over the cracks, cover up, conceal? How many people just want to... You can't handle the truth, you know? It's that. How many folk can handle the truth in their daily lives? No many. A corruption. Can they call the trickle-down effect trickle-down economics, right? What about trickle-down evil? Because essentially that's, you know, this could go in a million different directions, but it's the same theme. If I was talking about David Icke. We watched a few David Icke things because it was like conspiracy, you know, that was the theme of this particular series. So I thought, well, watch a bit of David Icke just to lighten the mood. It was because it was quite funny, you know, now and then, you know, then and now. And he was talking about conspiracies, right? And the fact that a very small elite cabal of evil people run the world. You know, it's like basically the world is run by gangsters, you know. Yeah? Right? And people want, you know, the truth, you know. It's the only time we get to the truth when we watch a fucking film or a Netflix series. That's the closest we're going to get to truth. And it's funny, isn't it, how they say, Bush said, let us not tolerate outlandish conspiracy theories. It's like, what does that say? That, I mean, the whole fucking shebang is one big conspiracy, like the Matrix, you know, like, in the sense that the wool was pulled over your eye. You thought you were living, like Alan Watts said, you know, you go to work and it's coming, the reward, you know, so you work for this future outcome that never comes, because the whole system's set up for the majority of people to fail, because it only benefits the majority, the people at the top, you know. But anyway, how do I boil this down? It's just a rough and ready exploration of the topic. It just got me thinking about the whole thing. What occurs to me now as I'm thinking about that, one of the things I'm thinking is Lockerbie, The Search for Truth, about the Pan Am Flight 103 that came down over Lockerbie, the worst terrorist outrage that the country had ever seen, and still is. And one man spearheaded quite a badass sort of campaign against the authorities to search for the truth of what happened to his daughter, because he quickly realised that there was some sort of cover-up that didn't really make sense, and he was driven by the whole, I want to find the truth for my daughter, you know. And he did do that. And what did we discover? Let's try and break this down in quite a simple way, right? Because there's lots of things we could talk about, right? What did they discover? Oh, there's a surprise. Governments lie. Governments cover up. As I was saying before, the whole fucking shebang is one big cover up. It's one big, to quote Webster Tarpley, it's one big creeping, dirty insurrection from one minute to the next. So all these different agencies working, and we can't get to the truth. That's the whole point. If I could just break it down in a basic way, just for myself, my thought is that, oh, shock horror, 36 years on, and we have a film saying, oh, there was a cover-up. Why is that a surprise? You know, people are oblivious to, a lot of people are oblivious to this. Why is the conspiracy theory the crazy one, and the mainstream one is invariably the one that people just believe, trust in authority? That's one angle in it. Why would you trust authority? Authority consistently lies. So looking at 9/11, it's like, what strikes me is that Lockerbie's happened, and then you had this guy coming out trying to expose the truth about Lockerbie, okay, and 30 odd years old, 36 years later, and we have a film out, and it's not really been in the public consciousness, has it? So nobody cares about the truth. One of the points is that it's all designed to conceal the truth, because gangsters run the world. You know, it's like we had the pub bombings of Guildford and Birmingham, didn't we? When at the height of the IRA, the conflict there, and innocent men were put to prison. Innocent men were put to prison in Birmingham, proving fact that it was all a cover-up, and the police planted evidence to frame innocent people. 9/11 happened, which was a complete cover-up. The cover story there to justify the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan. Obviously, the cover story is a joke, and there is a whole military, industrial complex, a whole military, the most sophisticated military state ever in the history of the world, that orchestrated 9/11. Again, compartmentalized certain aspects of the secret government, the Illuminati, the cabal, the people are so trusting of authority that they believe the official narrative. How many times do these things have to happen before people wake up to the fact that there is that all these governments are basically just like, they're criminals, they're gangs of criminals that just fight amongst themselves, and anybody that gets caught in the crossfire is a pawn in a bigger game that they don't understand, and they are used, scapegoated, patsies, and then the Lee Harvey Oswald thing as well. Of course, it's the standard blueprint, isn't it? The governments all fight amongst themselves and fuck the people. And McGrahey was innocent, the alleged bomber. And what I find interesting is the fact that we were talking about this last night, like 9/11 happened, right? 9/11 happened, and it was quoted in the film. They said, "Oh, we're not," because they were trying to open a new appeal to try and prove Matt McGrahy's innocence, because Jim Swire, the man at the head of the families who wanted to get to the truth, he was trying to get an appeal, and the reporter who was helping him on his side, he said, well, that's old news now, it's all about 9/11. And the hilarious, ironic thing is, the past gives us the answers to why things are the way they are in the present. In other words, if you don't get to the truth of Lockerbie, how are you going to see 9/11 through wise eyes? How are you going to know the key to 9/11 if you don't look at the key to Lockerbie? And that's the whole. Again, that's what the authorities count on. We'll just cover it up until people just forget about it. But if people had seen the reality of what was happening in Lockerbie, then they might have been awake to the reality of what 9/11 was. Basically a false flag terrorist event in order to justify an invasion or any kind of action in another country. So it's all bullshit, isn't it? It's the same thing repeating all the time. So what's going to be the next? The conclusion is, without getting into this anymore, oh fuck, I've missed the fucking turn off. Shit. The point is, people are willfully ignorant. They don't do the research. They trust in authority. So when an authority, they had the Camp Zeiss, the court in the Netherlands where he was finally tried. We had that kangaroo court, and they never got to the truth, even though the truth was exposed. The defence they had an opportunity to cross-examine the discredited witness. It was clear without going into it. So we could have got to the truth. There was an opportunity, but it was just that what happened was we just it was just a farce. They had the illusion of justice, and the wrong man was convicted. My thought is, you could ask yourself, why bother pursuing it? Why bother pursuing it? And I kind of think that myself. It's like, who cares? Who cares who did it? It doesn't really matter, does it? Does it really matter which criminal element of a faction of this terrorist group? Does it really matter? Do you really care? It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change the fact that we have a shadow government or a rogue network, to quote Tarpley, that orchestrates these things, So I think my thought was, you go into all this effort to try and fight for the truth for your daughter, but you're actually sacrificing your sanity, because it would drive you mental try to pursue that. So why not just move on and live your life? Which is kind of ironic, because that's what most people were doing. I admire the fact that he wanted to find the truth, but why not just, you're never going to get to the truth. That's the whole point, because the whole thing's covered up. You have all these powerful institutions with a vested interest in to quote George Carlin, it's a big game, you ain't in it, and you're just a victim of it, and you're just fodder, so good luck. So basically, even though Lockerbie could shine the light of truth on, or it could have shone the light of truth onto the way the world actually works, if people would wake up, who cares? Because 9/11 happened, so it didn't prevent 9/11, because, to quote George Carlin, governments, whoever, governments, rogue network, the cabal, whatever you believe, the dark forces that really, the intelligence services, all these murky agencies that do all this dirty work, they can, to quote George Carlin, do what the fuck they want, and consistently they do, and you're not going to be able to change that. So get on with your life, and just I suppose he had the consolation that Jim Swire had, because people were saying that, oh, this is doing the families, this is disrespecting the families. He was a family member, so fuck you, you know. They're saying you're disrespecting the families by going through with this, you know. And really, he had the last laugh, because, you know, you got a film made about it, and the truth is out in a film. But how sad that it takes a fucking television program to get to the truth, you know. And it is closer to the truth, because it's if you've read Jim Swire's book, or if you've seen the other documentary film on it, yeah, that's what happened. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that he was framed, and it's a load of bullshit. So when are people going to wake up to the fact that, but again, in waking up, good, what are you going to do with this information? Oh, great, I've woken up. You know, like I said before, like, how terminally naive would you be to think that the world isn't corrupt, that the higher you go, the more criminal and evil the whole thing is, you know, evil. So good luck, try to change the system. You're not gonna. When's the next terrorist attack coming? That's what my question is. When's the next terrorist attack coming? And COVID was great as well, wasn't it? Because they managed to test. There's huge different layers to that, isn't there? But just on the level of that, the government managed to show just how subservient people were. They did a good job there, you know. And it was a psychological operation, wasn't it? And there was a huge fallout from it. And they let it happen, because if they'd actually done their job, they would have. It would have prevented it in the fucking first place. So governments let things happen and make things happen in order to create problems which they can then benefit from. The main benefit is to keep most of the population in their place, as George Carlin said, keep the lower and middle classes fighting amongst themselves, so that the people at the top can run away with all the money, you know. And interesting final thought, a lot of people, it was depicted in the film as well, a lot of young people of a certain age, when they don't even know what Lockerbie is. How funny is that? The greatest terrorist outrage to ever have happened on these isles, right? And a lot of young people don't even know about it. So keep the population stupid, keep the population dumbed down, unintelligent, uninformed, unenlightened, and then you can keep perpetrating these terrorist outrages. So when's the next one going to be? Have a good 2025, right?